Hey y'all, welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Colton, here with Brandon. 5 cards, 5 minutes for the new BanG Dream Extra Boosters, Commons and Uncommons. Brandon, what's our first card?
First up, we have this level 0. If you have one or less other characters on stage, it gets 1500 power. And then on your opponent's turn, it can run to the left position of your center stage. So you have a left runner and potential 3/5 power at 0. Pretty good to help get over things.
Yeah, this is fine. It sits at 3/5 and it runs away. Or runs in front. Basically always going to be 3/5 if it's in your opening hand. And 3/5 is never bad. It may not be the best field plussing 0 in BanG Dream, but it's certainly usable. Next, straight through our Dreams layer. Level 1, 2500 power. On play, choose an opponent's character. That character can't move until the end of your opponent's next turn. And it's also a cost 0 clock bomb. So basically the Nolan profile from Ruby. This profile is going to become more and more important as standby just continues to be the most relevant stuff in the meta. If you're playing green, right, if you're playing BanG Dream Bar, things like that, this card probably finds its way in just as an anti-standby measure.
Yeah, it seems to be a very helpful tech for standby and being able to lock opponents' characters in place, as well as be able to cost 0 bomb, get cards off the field on your opponent's turn, so you can swing into open lanes. A really effective card. Next up, we have this level 0 green. Gives all of your opponent's characters Encore 2, but the real plus for running this card, when you trigger Gold Bar, you can salvage a character from Waiting Room in addition to the effects of the Gold Bar. So if you're running this on an 8-bar list, you could potentially get your blind stock, you get the climax to hand, and you could get a character to hand from Waiting Room. Really augmenting that Gold Bar and going pretty hard in. This really raises Gold Bar gameplay.
Yeah, BanG Dream already runs that bar top end, so if you're looking at running an 8-bar BanG Dream list, I would say this is an auto include because it turns every bar trigger into a salvage in addition to the bar effects. Giving all of your opponent's characters Encore 2 is just not that big of a neg. This is also an oversize, right? It's 3500 power at level 0 because of the downside. So it fulfills a couple needs in the deck, right? It's a 3500 oversize that doesn't require anything else on board in a certain pattern. You know, it doesn't lose power when you add more characters to the board. So an oversized 0 that has such a useful plus on a gold bar trigger. If you're going to play 8-bar, you're going to play this card. Next, on violin, Ruby Yashio, level 0, 500 power. On play, if you have 2 or more other music characters, you can draw Ditch. Also, you can pay 1 and send this from stage to Waiting Room to choose a music character equal to your level and put it on stage. This card has Draw Ditch, which is always a useful little cantrip. This can also change the cost for bringing a level 3 onto stage from paying 2 to paying 1 and then functionally ditching this by removing it from field after playing it. I don't think this really sees play, but it's at least interesting because it could reduce stock dependency in lists that are maybe a little bit more hand heavy and maybe need that extra stock to get their endgame combos off.
Last up, we have this level 1 Kasumi that has the ability to put a character card from your hand into clock and rest this card to draw up to 2 cards. Essentially, you're clocking yourself again to draw 2 cards.
There are definitely times and places where I've wished I could clock draw a second time just because my hand was terrible. And this basically offers exactly that. It's just a second clock draw. It only really works in the Poppin party list. Technically color fixing, I guess, as well, if you want. I don't know. I don't think this card gets run, but I think it's definitely interesting. If this were on a 0, I think it would be ridiculous. The fact that it's on a 1 and that it requires a Poppin party character makes it less so, but it's at least interesting. So we'll see what happens with it. We'll see if anybody decides to try to tech it in and, potentially use it as a way out of trouble. But at the very least, it's an interesting and unique profile. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on Tuesday with Weiss 101. Gameplay on Thursday, a new Clock Talk the following Tuesday. And in 2 weeks, we will wrap up 5 cards, 5 minutes for Rent a Girlfriend with Uncommons and Commons. Until next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And have a good one.
We'll see you then.